Hello and welcome to the And Everything In Between podcast. I am Joe and I'm joined here by Matt.
Hello.
And also joined here by our usual host Tony.
Hey, that's me.
And we're here to work the gaming industry and everything in between. So Matt is our new guest this week. Do you want to talk about yourself? Say what you've been up to?
Yeah, sure. Hi, so I'm Matt. I'm a guy who's just graduated from university.
So do you have any plugs? Like you said you were starting a wrestling channel on YouTube. What's the link to that?
So basically I'm starting a YouTube channel about wrestling. It's called In the Ring, Out the Ring. And there's a blog post every week as well that just keeps fans up to date with the current wrestling industry, what's happening both in the independents and the major WWE scene, and informs us about what's happening outside of the ring.
So sort of like a WWE news blog post sort of thing.
Yeah, but it focuses on the independent wrestling scene as well, like the wrestlers who are trying to make it to the WWE.
And what were the YouTube videos about? Are these news as well? Are these to go with the blog posts?
Basically what I'm trying to do is cover each week the major like pay-per-views or scheduled events. So on WWE you've got Raw and SmackDown, and then about once a month you have a pay-per-view, which is like the big event like WrestleMania or Extreme Rules.
I just find it weird how wrestling seems to be one of the formats untouched by the pay-per-view thing. I don't think any other, business goes with that model really anymore.
It's quite archaic. MMA I think is the only other one that does it, and that every MMA event is a pay-per-view.
Right.
I have one question before we.
I don't know anything about wrestling.
No, I was going to say that as well, but I do have one question. One thing I know. Do you call them wrestling fans or the WWE universe?
Well, it depends, because if you said to someone who watched NJW, which is New Japan Wrestling, for example, and you said, "Oh, you're a WWE universe," they'd be a bit offended.
That wouldn't fly.
But the general viewers who watch WWE, the WWE universe.
Okay. So they couldn't just be WWE fans.
Yeah.
It's much easier to say and less pretentious.
Yeah, there's a bigger there's a word on YouTube that's called a smark, which is if someone watches wrestling a lot and knows about all the stuff, like a guy called Roman Reigns just failed the WWE wellness policy for his first time, but it's a really big deal because this guy was the face of the company and everyone saw him as being pushed by the main company, and for him to do this was a bit of a middle finger to everything they've given him.
Right.
And especially
he shouldn't have failed it in the first place though.
Yeah.
Surely.
And the problem is as well, like the wellness policy is there for a reason, because wrestlers like Chris Benoit killed their family and themselves because of like the drugs, the concussions, everything they were getting. So it's there to protect them and the people around them, and it was a bit of a middle finger up.
There's some really dangerous stunts that these people are pulling off.
Yes, I mean nowadays in the PG era they're a lot more restricted. So you used to see blood a lot. Basically the way you get blood is either hit someone really hard with a steel chair, which can give them a concussion, or you have a blade, which if you go on to type Eddie Guerrero versus JBL, he cuts so deep into his forehead that the blood is spurting out, and backstage, fun fact, he actually had to be rushed to hospital because of blood loss, and he continued to fight with blood spilling out of his head for 15 minutes. Like that type of stuff's dangerous, but in the PG era it's less extreme. They like the last match that was, I would say, extreme and showed blood was in Extreme Rules after WrestleMania, which had the new WWE champion Dean Ambrose go against Chris Jericho, who people probably heard of if you're not fans, and basically he got thumbtacks put into his back, and that's the most hardcore wrestling is at the moment.
Right.
So it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's from an outsider, it seems to be going towards more of an entertainment value than like a raw show of power.
Well, it's always been like that. I think that's why you're seeing a lot more interest in MMA nowadays, because WWE's always been focused on the storyline. So at the time of WWF, World Wrestling Federation, and there was another company called WCW, World Championship Wrestling, and those two were rivals, and one was a lot more extreme and had the blood and the violence and the thing everybody loved, and WWF at the time was a lot more story driven, and eventually Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE now, bought out WCW, and ever since then he's always had this storyline plot, because that's when the rankings increased. And I think that was when he saw it at a pinnacle, and I think ever since he's always put the middle finger up to WCW, really, because he's never really changed his business model. And
It's like a safer business model, though.
It's okay. What's interesting at the moment is they're trying to revive WWE. The ratings have just been dropping like so much. I think this week's Monday Night Raw was the lowest viewer threshold in like 19 years, and it just feels like they're doing this brand split that's coming up next week, next Tuesday, and basically what they're doing is they're splitting SmackDown and Raw into two like completely like almost different entities of the company.
I was under the impression that they were separate sort of wrestling events.
Well, basically, one is always aired live on a Monday night, and SmackDown's always pre-recorded, normally on the Tuesday, and aired on the Thursday. But now they're doing that SmackDown immediately follows Raw on the Tuesday night and is videoed live. So it's a big deal at the moment, because basically the rosters, all the good wrestlers have either been injured, or they just don't have enough talent, so they're having to bring a lot up from the developmental program of NXT, and some of them just aren't ready. Like there's someone called Dana Brooke at the moment who has no fan base, was injured for about a year and a half. She's a really hard worker, but she's just not popular because WWE didn't establish a fan base, and they're having to bring back a lot of old school wrestlers, like Rey Mysterio's been approached, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, who are not stable. Look at Victory Road and it's embarrassing. Jeff Hardy comes out absolutely smashed off his face off drugs, and the match is ended in a minute because he's unsafe to wrestle, and WWE, or it almost feels like a middle finger to their wellness policy that they're trying to even bring him back. So it's interesting at the moment. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the company, because right now it doesn't look particularly promising with the ratings and the viewings, but I hope the brand split will it will change things up a bit more, because it's too stale.
Yeah. I think a lot of the entertainment franchises will find that, they need to shake things up a bit. I think we're seeing like a rapidly declining viewer base in a lot of esports events, even like I think League of Legends has the lowest viewership it's ever had. Like I've even stopped watching like the regular LCS that I used to watch religiously almost now, just because I'm just not interested in the game. They changed from the format from like a best of 1 to a best of 3, and I honestly can't be bothered to watch a best of 3 between some of the worst League of Legends teams in the actual LCS. I find it completely ridiculous that someone can just it's like a couple of minutes into the game, someone's already killed 3 people as a support. It's like completely ludicrous, but an absolute shambles. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, seeing a lot of declining viewerships in different medias and bringing it back to gaming.
I think Obviously, my only esports knowledge that I've watched a lot is StarCraft, but you saw a lot of that one. Like there's a lot of like dips as they're just doing the same thing over and over.
Well, that's the problem with like esports though in general. It's you've got a meta game, like a meta way of playing, and so naturally it's hard to keep that fan base constant unless the shows.
You're saying you should change, change it up, like as a natural thing.
Then you need to change the nature of the game sometimes, and that's easier said than done. I think.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, you showed me they kind of brought in those different cages to try and spice up the wrestling matches. And there's different gimmicks to try and change the matches, get more people to watch it, sort of thing, like the tag team cage match sort of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. I think it's something that can always evolve because characters will always change and they can always do different things. Like for example, at the moment they've got this tag team called Enzo and Cass, and they're absolutely great. But I personally don't like them at the moment because what they're trying to do is push them too hard to be tag team champions, and I don't think that's necessarily right. And the fans can see it. The last champion, Roman Reigns, it's why he was hated so much, because basically what they were doing was just pushing him and everybody hated him. He would come into the ring, he would be booed, and he used to come through the crowd, and it was such a health and safety hazard that they had to give him the normal ring entrance because he was hated that much. And the problem was with that though is they need to judge properly. Like if someone's hated, you make them a bad guy naturally, but he was a good guy and he was the face of the company, so it just didn't work. Otherwise, like in comparison with esports, is like other than like Faker or certain stars, no one really has a personality because they're just there playing games sitting in front of like a computer screen, to be blunt.
It's more like like an opera or a like a play.
Yeah, exactly, and like that's the problem I have. Is like it's obviously set up. There is.
So you're saying you like comparing it like a movie?
It's like reality. It's like reality TV because that's mostly scripted anyway. So.
Yeah.
But in a more meaningful way.
Yeah, I think like the problem with like wrestling and people's perceptions of it is obviously it's fake, and obviously the things are predetermined, but things can go wrong. Like nobody wants to see someone go and like punch someone's face in and cut them up so they can't see anymore and stuff like that. But it's okay if it's controlled and they know what they're doing, like we used to see in the Attitude Era. Like people like putting chairs and stuff like that, and that personality of I have no respect for you, blah blah blah, and that's acceptable when people know it's scripted. And I think the problem people have is they're like, oh, it's scripted, therefore all the stunts must be fake. They're not fake. But
well, the stunts you can't have fake stunts really. They're still you could see if it was fake or not.
I mean, fake. Like there are sometimes you can see that things are fake. Like in the last pay-per-view, the Money in the Bank, John Cena wasn't even hitting one of the people, AJ Styles, who he was against. Like it was about it was about a good 10 centimeters away from his head.
If you want to see bad fighting acting, watch the final fight in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. They literally shoot their lightsabers away from each other so they can't possibly hit each other. That's is it on that level of bad?
Yeah, and like you get that, but then at the same time you get that mainly with like the rookies, but then you also get the most amount of mistakes, like the stuff that generally injures people. Like at WrestleMania, for example, one of my favourite tag teams got concussed. Basically, his head hit the rope. He's then he was sprung back onto the mat, and his neck got whiplash, and then he was out cold, and people were generally scared. And another famous one is Jerry King Lawler, who I probably shouldn't speak about in terms of wrestling because he's been suspended at the moment for beating his wife. but he had a heart attack live on one of the shows, and it's stuff like that that just can't be predicted. Bret Hart got concussed after leaving for WCW. Shawn Michaels got a back injury that then led to him taking painkillers and drugs, and put him out of his career for a while. He got sober and then came back, and then got injured again. That sort of stuff is, you can write a script, but this is still going to happen, and people need to like sort of realize that when they're paying, or like when they go, oh, wrestling's fake. No, a lot of people put time and effort, like go for about 5-6 years, probably longer, being poor, like just to become a wrestler. The independent scene pays about $20 per show, and then you got to bear in mind that people are driving to get to that show, paying for the wrestling academies that they're at. They're barely eating, but they need to gain muscle mass, that sort of stuff, and it's a sacrifice these wrestlers actually put in that I don't think people realise.
Yeah, it's not all glamorous behind the...
No, if you watch The Wrestler, the film, it's actually a dark depiction of what a lot of independent wrestling's like.
Well, a lot of my knowledge of wrestling comes from the game SmackDown vs. Raw 2004, which is one of the few wrestling games I did play on the PS2, I think it was.
Great game.
That definitely had very recognisable wrestlers. You had your Undertakers, your Kanes, your John Cenas, and you're saying we're not really having these kind of big personalities anymore. I know John's still around, but...
I think it's a more well-balanced show, but... The thing that I find interesting is all the people, or most of the people that came, who were the big names back in the day, were WWE artificially made. Like Undertaker was artificially made by the WWE. Kane had 5 gimmicks before he even became Kane. One being a Christmas monster. So
a Christmas monster.
Yeah, a Christmas monster.
I always thought like Undertaker and Kane stories are like absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, they are.
He's back from the dead again.
Yeah.
He's the Undertaker.
Oh yeah, but they're iconic. Otherwise, nowadays, there's wrestlers called Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens.
It was cheesy, but it gave them character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I preferred that, but obviously I'm not actually a fan. I can't really say anything.
Well, my favourite feud at the minute is basically one that's been going on for about 7 years now. And WWE don't actually have the license or the legality to advertise what had previously been in something called Ring of Honor, which is an independent circuit. But they carried on the feud because it was so good in NXT, which belongs to WWE. And then on the main roster at the moment, they brought it up to the main roster where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the two wrestlers who are in a heated feud, are going against each other in the next pay-per-view. And at the moment in wrestling, you're seeing less of the superstars like John Cena. Like John Cena at the moment does not look good because you've got all these people that have come from the independent circuit who have worked hard, and people know they've worked hard, and basically they've sort of taken over a lot now.
Isn't John head of the union for the wrestlers?
Sort of. His legal contract's pretty bad. Like, for example, you can't insult him unless he actually allows you to. That's part of the contract. Under
I think
his name.
he has enough pulling power to pretty much be like the head of the union for wrestlers.
It's the problem, the thing I like about what's happening in wrestling at the moment is basically because all these independent people are coming in, there's less backstage politics because they've all been on the road together. Most of them have travelled together like hours and hours for shows, been through the hardship, lived together, stayed 4 people in a hotel room in one bed sort of thing. They've been through this hardship, and so there's less of this bitchiness and stabbing their way to get to the top, and it's more of a camaraderie. Otherwise, during the Attitude Era and like during 2004, the SmackDown vs. Raw, it's very, very political. Like John Cena is a massive game player. Undertaker decided who and when he would lose to people. The only person he's ever agreed to lose to at WrestleMania was Brock Lesnar, and that that says something. This year he was meant to lose to Shane McMahon in WrestleMania, and he decided he didn't want to, so he didn't. And I find it's a lot better, it's a lot more refreshing that we don't have this political debacle in the background that spills onto the stage. It feels a nicer environment, to be honest. And I get, and the thing is, people say, oh well, it doesn't make the wrestlers work as hard. No, it makes them work harder, because they want to put on a good show, because they know each other, because they know each other's limits. They want to be there because they've been doing it all their life. They've been training, they've been through absolute murder, getting paid nothing to be on the main stage, and they're finally here. So why are they not going to want to do that? And that's why I find it so good at that. That's why I find it so good at the moment.
Okay. Well, bringing it back to gaming, Hulk Hogan.
It's quite a big
Hulk Hogan's sex tape lawsuit bankrupting Gawker Media, their subsidiary Kotaku. Hopefully that'll be bankrupt soon. Awful website. Some of my favourite wrestling films. Do you know Billy Harrington or Van Darkholme? Some of my favourite wrestling films.
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
Do they talk about Gachi in the WWE circle?
Sort of, yeah. Like,
fantastic wrestling videos.
They have some weird stuff. Like,
yeah,
they had pro wrestlers versus zombies. It's pretty special.
Yeah, but if you want to check out, that sounds really interesting, Matt. If you want to check that stuff out, what's your YouTube channel? Post?
In the Ring, Out the Ring at WordPress.com, or In the Ring, Out the Ring on YouTube. Right,
we'll put that in the description. Get on that, Tony. So,
if I'll get right on.
Anyone wants to check that out? That sounds really interesting. It's as someone who's not in wrestling, I sure would. Listen to that, because Matt's put it in quite a concise way that's easy to understand. So
thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
But before we go on to the main topic, have you been playing anything this week, or anything you want to talk about? Because I think you said you want to talk about Stardew Valley.
Oh, Stardew Valley is a miracle. I'm out of the trend. I am out. I am literally out of the trend. This is about Christmas time. This was really kicking off.
Yeah.
But
I think
it's a great game. It's it's like all the farming sort of games out there. Like,
it's basically like Farmville then.
Yeah. No, it's better.
Yeah.
It's just better. It's so hard to describe it. Put it this way. I've been into the village. I've picked the hottest cartoon character girl, which, believe me, I feel guilty about. I feel so wrong. And I'm just harvesting some pumpkins.
Hang on, wait, is that a euphemism?
Oh no, I've been proper chatting her up. I found her grandma's necklace.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Stardew Valley is kind of like a 2D. Is it isometric?
Yeah.
Crafting and harvesting game.
Yeah, it's like Harvest Moon.
Game.
Management sim.
Yeah.
It's like Harvest Moon sort of style of game. It's great.
Harvest Moon.
Or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
Resource management, I believe, is the term.
Yeah.
You're kind of going out there to get materials, to build stuff, to build more things.
Yeah.
That sort of style. Similar to Terraria or Minecraft. Sort of like that survival.
Yeah, sort of
stuff. I'm sure it has its own merits. Do you want to talk about what sort of stuff makes it stand out?
I don't know. It's the simple things, like you get a dog. That's satisfying.
There's no dogs in Minecraft.
Is it satisfying that because
unlucky
there is dogs. Matt, would you say it's satisfying because it doesn't scale up? You start off quite small, and then there's more and more expensive animals.
Yeah, it's like
you have to scale up. It's
it's a basic concept, and you're always trying to get better. You're always trying to get to a place. Right now, I haven't even got to the desert bit, and I'm just trying to get there. And
right,
like I have to spend like 25,000 gold to get there, which is when you're trying to find other ways of making money, like when you're trying to invest in cows and chickens and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, as you do. I can relate
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
You know, it's addictive, and it's like simple things like remembering someone's birthday, going to these cool events, it just exploring around, that sort of stuff. It's quite fun. Like, it's addictive.
So what's the combat system like? I know nothing about the combat system.
Okay, so basically everywhere you go is basically safe, apart from this thing called the mines or the desert.
Right.
And once you enter there, you have like a sword, and basically you just click to kill enemies.
Right.
And gradually, as the game gets harder, the enemies start to get harder, but the mechanics pretty much the same.
This is just simple point and click.
Yeah, pretty much. The only difference is there's something called mummies in the desert that I've seen. That if you don't kill with a bomb, keep on regenerating, so it gets harder. But yeah, I haven't got that far yet. But all the enemies seem to be quite similar.
The most important thing to me about these sort of survival games is the end game content, because it felt when I played like Minecraft, it felt like, you know, you build a house and then without like a lot of modding to it, there wasn't really that much to do.
Yeah, you could build like a small village. And
I mean, I know Notch likes to write his essay about, you know, some shit as you kill an elder dragon, but that wasn't enough for me.
That would just make it a game. Apparently,
it wasn't a game until Notch writes a paragraph about nonsense.
Yeah,
I wish
which everyone just skips.
I wish he would have just put his Twitter post on there. It'd be much funnier.
Yeah. Maybe it was. Maybe it's like earlier Twitter posts from a different account.
Here's hoping.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Stardew Valley sounds pretty fun.
I just think like the good thing about Stardew Valley, in like if we're comparing it to like Minecraft, it's like it's a similar like idea that it does get limited after a while. Like I'm on my second year at the moment. And
how long is a year roughly?
So it's a year is 4 months of 28 days. And you can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to sleep at 6 o'clock in the morning if you want to rush to go to the next day. So it's
how long roughly is it taken for you to get to
I'd say about 3 hours, maybe less. But I think the thing with Stardew Valley is you can sort of do like maybe 20 minutes and then just leave it.
Okay.
It's easy to pick up and leave off, if that makes sense.
Easy to pick up and play.
Yeah.
Easy to play for a while.
Yeah.
Lose track of time.
Get satisfied, then you can leave satisfied.
It doesn't. I haven't looked this up, but it doesn't have multiplayer, does it?
No.
So it's going on the single player experience alone. Have they announced multiplayer, or they said they have plans for it?
I don't think they will. No.
It seems almost weird when a game launches with only a single player campaign these days. There's so many games that just tack on multiplayer or tack on single player even.
Yeah, I think it's kind of refreshing though. I think they're like sticking to their strong.
I think some of the single player games themselves have proven themselves. Like Bastion, I remember when I played that.
Awful combat.
I loved Bastion.
I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but I've played through the entire Bastion. I know you really like Bastion, Matt, from previous games. I really hated the combat in that game. It felt so like weak and not punchy, and
I thought it felt
I weird semi-platforming wasn't that fun.
I think you'd like
Transistor
then.
Pretentious.
Transistor's like a lot more punchier.
Well, I'm a huge hack and slash fan, so the Bastion combat system for me was really kind of a letdown. Even though I did find that I enjoyed the game more towards the end, I'd definitely say the game got a lot better towards the end. The combat felt a lot more rewarding, and the overall weapons and stuff. I think the early game was just. It was kind of shit. Is the nice way to put it.
I don't know if you want to go through what we've been doing, or do you want to go straight on?
Well, I'll just go quickly because I think today Matt's bought Overwatch, so we'll just quickly. We love Overwatch. I know there's still that one guy who hates Overwatch, but we will talk about Overwatch because it's a fantastic game, and it's still good. That's what I've been playing mainly. I don't think I played anything else. It went to the zoo. Toby, what about you?
I don't know. I don't really done anything really. Oddly,
You've not been playing any games or watching anything?
Games. I mean, I played Prison Architect for a bit. Still a fantastic game. But none that I
So
haven't
still
played.
confuses me.
So good.
Oh, it is
So
such a
good.
good game.
I tried one of the darkest intros to a game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Surprisingly
It
dark
is
intros.
dark. It's funny as well because it's them ages to actually implement the electric chair actually into the game properly. It's like you actually have like death row.
To be honest with you, I would want like a full campaign of that guy's life in Prison Architect. That would be my game.
That would
of
be good.
Prison Architect.
Yeah. I mean, you could technically
You
mod
sort
that
of
in.
can.
That's
Well,
not outside the
modders,
realms.
if you're listening, get on it.
Yeah, you sort like it's weird. You sort of can because you can access a prisoner mode now, where you just play as the
Yeah.
prisoner and try to escape prisons.
It's like it's escape mode.
I-
Wait, you can escape from the prison.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sounds
you can
interesting.
make really hard
one
ones.
of the there's many options you can kind of like initiate when you start a prison.
Right.
And one of them is like if you fail like so much, like you get sent to like a random prison that you've got downloaded, then you have to then escape it.
And then wait, so if you failed making a prison, you get sent to a
If
random
you fuck
prison.
up so much, like loads of people have died, and they then call like if anyone else dies in this time, like you're out. That basically means you go.
Well,
to
that
prison
actually
for,
sounds
like-
really interesting.
Yeah, they actually added that when they released it last year in October.
Yeah, they officially brought it out of early access around then. I
Yeah,
think.
but that's at the same time that's when they brought in this escape mode,
Wow.
which is quite interesting.
Isn't it? Why are they doing something with the escapist sort of thing? Am I?
It feels similar.
Yeah.
I think the escapist does the escaping better. Without it's it's sort of in the name. But
Yeah.
I like playing the escape mode and going on the Steam Workshop, and
I quite like because it's either escaping from like a Actually, I think every prison downloaded by default is either made by like one person in the company or like it's from like users already. So you're escaping from someone else.
that's what I love that though. Like I think I downloaded The Great Escape, and it felt so satisfying to try and escape that Nazi war camp.
Yeah, and I think it's probably fun for people to try and make their prisons inescapable.
Yeah, it feels
Try and
like
get people.
Well, that's kind of what you do.
Yeah,
anyway,
but the like real life players who have brains.
yeah, it feels like Mario Maker sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
apart from less.
I know it'll never happen, but I wish Nintendo would release some of their games on like PCs some way. Have like a Nintendo
I
store
That would be cool.
or something. I would love to play Mario
Just
Maker
like Ubisoft.
on a gamepad on my computer. That'd be great. Speaking of Nintendo, Pokemon Go exists and is actually pretty good. I was gonna
Pokemon.
talk
Rip it to
shit about
pieces.
Pokemon Go, but it's actually pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, when the servers are up, I thought so. To me, I played Pokemon a lot as a kid, so I really enjoyed that. But as I got older, I found the actual combat of Pokemon really repetitive and boring. It was literally like
I think they've fixed that in the most recent games, but I haven't played Pokemon. since
what
I
they
was a
did was
kid
they
either,
went,
so-
you can just go places and capture Pokemon when you're bored on your phone. And there's none of the combat, so we've just taken it out. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think they've taken it out necessarily. I think they just haven't implemented anything useful than swiping.
No, I think it's a intentional move. Or maybe they might
I don't know,
add
they've
battles later
said-
down the line.
Yeah, they've said they're still developing it.
I'd understand battling with other people once you've captured the Pokemon, maybe. Or, yeah, but I actually want to collect rare Pokemon and walk to places.
You want to actually go outside?
Yeah, surprisingly enough.
Like,
Nintendo stocks have doubled and they're selling like more Pokemon games on Amazon like than any other game because of this. Like
it is amazing.
people are so
They've
hyped
done.
for Pokemon now, it's insane.
Yeah.
And it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
Probably
don't
one
know
of the
anything
most
about it until
surprising
last week.
iOS games and like Android games to come out that people are Jesus, well, let's talk about some real topics then, not Pokemon
Real
Go.
topic, half an hour.
Yeah,
Over half an
Love
hour.
Island.
Some real topic.
Jesus Christ.
we're not talking about. I don't watch Love Island.
It's
I
so
only
bad.
saw that one episode.
So bad.
Actually, do you guys want to talk about VR quickly? Because you used.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah.
Toby, you want to go on about the experiences that you had in the lab and the other games that you played?
I'll tell the one nice one. I went first, and apparently I'm really bad at archery. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I did.
That was in the lab playing the archery.
What I wanted to do is the three things I kind of wanted to do was the Google what's it called? Tilt brush. Google Tilt brush. I really wanted to see that, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah, it is.
I also wanted to. So I'll just go through what I'm doing. I also went on like is it Stories of Mel with the
Paul Stories
elevator
Mel,
going down?
You went on the elevator experience.
That is
Scary.
ridiculous. Like actually feels like
It feels like you're
the
gonna
elevator's
die
moving.
because you're plummeting
Yeah.
into a pit in a giant elevator. One of the most uncomfortably good experience in VR.
Yeah.
I could feel gravity pushing down on me as I went down that elevator.
And the other thing I wanted to see was like, which I can't just like kind of like from like a I guess like what Dan said when he was on like education for like the solar system in the VR portal labs.
Hmm.
Like the sizes of like, the planets
Yeah,
like, make
one thing
much
that's
more sense
really
to
good
people if you can
about-
actually see it and hold
One
it.
thing that's really good about VR is it's really easy to see scales of things, like
Yeah.
where it isn't in like a
Well,
2D
you have depth
environment.
perception.
Yeah, so looking at the Earth and picking it up and holding it against the sun, you can really see how
And slamming
like
it into
small
the
it
sun.
is and how big the planets are, and like even like you saw, I think Matt, you were playing the robot repair, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you kind of got a scale of how fucking big and scary GLaDOS was, because at some point she charges in through the
Yeah.
wall and scared. I've never been so scared of GLaDOS in my life until I saw her in VR.
I think for me it was when the floor collapsed, and like you're like
Oh, yeah,
you're
you-
like
you
for a
were,
minute you sort of doubt yourself, like you know you're in VR, but for just that split second you're like, oh no,
You're-
okay, I'm in VR, it's okay.
Yeah, you actually jumped over the floor connected
Yeah.
together, didn't you?
Hmm. So, yeah. Did you want to talk about anything else you did on the Vive, Matt?
I just think like it's one of those things you pick up after about half an hour, and it sounds really weird, but like I think my biggest problem was the gridding system is so well done. Like you know where the walls are,
Hmm.
and it's clear where they are. It's just your body doesn't like you want to move away from the wall, but
Yeah.
it's just confusing in your head. But after a while, you just get used to it, and you know.
Yeah, maybe I don't really get that because I've used it so much, so I just don't even see that stuff
I think
anymore.
you actually live in the room as well. Like you know what the room size is. Like you can prepare yourself.
I
for
would
it.
say I have VR legs using the Oculus and using the Vive
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much. So it's kind of second nature to me, but I can see from someone who's never used it before how it might be quite confusing to play VR in an unfamiliar environment.
Yeah.
But once you get used to it, the grid system really.
Oh,
good.
it's great, isn't it? It's
You barely
fantastic.
even notice it until you know it's just this little feature that stops you walking into walls, and it's so well made. And
I think that's
actually,
the future, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I think the Vive is actually the future of virtual reality. I'm not too sold on the.
I mean,
but yeah.
yeah, I mean, like the thing was, basically, so obviously we're all a bit, we like our video games. Andy likes his video
What,
games.
on a video game podcast.
Yeah, no, but your brother likes video games, but like as well, Andy brought his girlfriend, and she was loving it. Like, and it says a lot when someone who doesn't play video games a lot, or perhaps isn't as engaged as us guys are, enjoying it and just getting stuck in and loving every moment of it. It's great that you can open the market up even further. Like going back to Pokemon, everyone could play it. VR just feels like the new Pokemon without the Pokemon.
I feel like you could be employed by IGN
Me?
with that statement. It's just like Pokemon.
Oh,
Pokemon.
they have a bunch of...
Yeah, I do agree that VR is very accessible to anyone. Not even I've had my parents on it, and they really enjoyed the experience, and they kind of understand what's going on.
It's just clever, and it's so versatile. Like, you can do so much of it. It's not just video games, home cinemas now. You know, 3D was massive in the with the TVs, and that flopped.
I always thought 3D was like a stupid.
Oh, it was awful, but this is just incredible.
How many people do you think have TV stuck with this awful 3D?
Oh, we've got one. It's so bad.
I don't know. I went off on a rant when Matt was around my house the other day playing on the Vive, but he was talking about 4D. You remember this talk we always have, Toby, about how cinemas are like the fourth dimension, smell.
No, Vive is basically 4 dimensional. You're always 3 dimensions. If you think about it, if you look on a screen and you play a game, you're using 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
You've got 2D and then you're moving in time. Those are 3 dimensions.
The fourth dimension is time.
Yeah, or in the case of VR, the 4th dimension is the actual 3rd dimension of space.
Anyway, so we'll go on to G2A. So G2A has been accused by Tiny Build of selling 450k worth of their game keys, and these game keys have been, charged back or from stolen credit cards, and G2A is they've been saying G2A is like eBay for game keys. You get a game key from a bundle, you sell it on G2A, you make a couple of dollars. This is really good for the consumer because they can buy games at a cheap price, and someone can
on a Steam sale.
Someone can sell their unwanted key and make a profit off it. Otherwise, it'd be wasted. But the problem is that this business model is really flawed, and it's really open to scams and chargeback and stolen credit cards. And a lot of people at G2A are making 3 to 4k a month and outlining their business model of getting hold of a database of stolen credit cards on the dark web, going to bundles, third-party key resellers, and buying game keys in bulk, then putting them onto their market and selling them at half the retail price.
It's absolutely
and they're
ridiculous.
making a profit on this.
But it's not G2A doesn't even seem to be capable of policing this either.
Well, they're actually
how flawed the system
They're not
is.
policing it. They're actually doing it themselves and going out their way to buy second-hand keys.
We go on about Valve not policing their property basically enough, and this is the almost not the opposite, but more further down the rabbit hole.
We sell stolen games.
Yeah, that should be their motto. At this point, I never liked G2A to begin with, but at this point.
Well, I always felt uncomfortable buying games from the grey market, as it's called. Third-party keys.
There are sites that do it legitimately, things like Gamersgate is that one I know.
Isn't that
thing
legit. About feminism?
No, that's Gamergate.
Oh, okay. Sorry. That might confuse some people. But yeah. What do you think about this, Matt? Have you ever bought a game on G2A.com?
No, I haven't. I was reading about it though, and it's just crazy, how people can earn 3 to 4k, and the biggest scare as well is that is untaxed. That wouldn't be taxed. So in a raw form, that is about 40 almost $45,000 of untaxed money, which is more than people who work managerial roles at a job get. That's just insane. That is crazy. Between 40 and 60,000 pounds of scams and deceits, and the idea is good. The idea, it should work, but it doesn't.
Well, yeah, the premise of it's good for the consumer, but other than that's the only good part of this. Everything else is bad for the consumer.
Yeah.
There'd be less good games that actually be funded properly. There'd be less good games to actually buy. I don't see how this is a good thing for the consumer, other than you can sell games you don't want that you accidentally got or have it in a bundle.
Well, people have been very outspoken about this for years. So I know the people like TV get very angry on this issue, but yeah, a lot of people have been paid hush money basically because they own some of the biggest streamers, YouTubers, esports organizations in the business.
Websites.
Oh, that was crazy.
Just to name off a few, like PewDiePie, Kriparian, Jack Frags, esports teams like CLG, Cloud9, Navi, DreamHack, ESL, like these huge organizations that are supposed to be like paid. Symbols of all that's fair. They're getting paid to not talk about this stuff, basically.
IGN,
10 out of 10. G2A. I see this shit all the fucking time, and I think it's ridiculous that every time I go on a streamer, like I'm a fan of some of these guys, and I kind of just don't want to watch this stuff anymore because I'm like, I'm a Cutie Pie, Soda Poppin', Kriparian, and I look at their screens and I see G2A.com use this code and get 3% off, and I'm like, how can you still support these people, knowing what you presumably know? And if you don't, how do you not know? Unless you're being paid so much money, you're just ignorant to the fact that you're basically, getting people to buy stolen keys and stealing money from developers that could otherwise be used to support their games. Like, the point's been brought up that you would actually be better pirating the game because you're not then stealing money from the developers by, having these keys charged back or...
I think as well, if you pirate games, you don't have the online accessibility as well.
Well, I wouldn't ever condone piracy.
Oh no, I wouldn't either, but I'm saying, at least if you are pirating, you're restricted by you can't go online. Like, this is just...
Well, I think if you can't afford to if you can't afford to chip out a couple of pounds more for the game, just don't purchase it.
Well, I think we don't condone pirating, but we condone pirating over G2A.
I think we condone
I think that speaks volumes
G2A.
of how much we hate. Yeah, I think that speaks volumes of how much we do not like G2A. And loads of people don't like G2A. But it is odd how many big personalities and almost organisations as well condone it. I can only imagine how much money they're giving to these people to allow this to happen.
Do you want to know?
You're saying Riot Games.
So basically
did not cave into this though.
So I think it was last year around October time, Riot Games, the owner of the biggest esports League of Legends, they actually banned any of their esports teams from being sponsored by G2A because the calls from the esports community was that these third-party services violated Riot's terms of service, that rules that govern League of Legends specifically were being broken. People were selling services like selling League of Legends accounts, which is against the terms of service, elo boosting services through G2A. This was just being allowed, not policed. And this, you had really big branding from these people. People like Cloud9, Counterlogic Gaming, H2K. Just had they forced them to basically remove their sponsorship from their kits and stuff, and they can't show this stuff at the events and stuff because they really don't want to support this, this rife for scams and borderline, pretty much illegal activity that's going on at, G2A. I'll just say that G2A is turning a blind eye to the illegal activity that's happening on their website, basically.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw any accusations that, there's this source from Tiny Build that might be a bit biased that say they have an insider who's admitted to doing some of this illegal shady stuff, but I mean,
at the very least,
it's
still pretty bad.
They need to police this stuff and admit that it does happen. Otherwise, they are, but evil things happen when good men turn their blind eye to it, don't they?
It's just like, the fundamentals of business are that you know what you're providing your customers, and if you I'm sorry, but if you really don't know that people are elo boosting and breaking someone's legal code that in turn you could be counter-sued for. That's just...
Do you understand the term elo boost?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
League of Legends guy.
I get by with what I understand. I think,
So anyone who doesn't understand, elo is like the MMR in League of Legends. So having a high ranked account is quite prestigious. Like there's actually benefits tied to this. Like I know Sky Williams did a video on this where he was saying like if you're like Diamond in League, women will actually try and track you down and try and get with you because you laugh, but it's like saying I'm Diamond in League of Legends is like a social status. Like people actually, I would, put it next to a similar status like saying, oh yeah, I'm a big time Twitch streamer. You get a lot of people who want to hang on and come near Twitch streamers because they know they'll get, popular off them, and a lot of these big, Diamond or Challenger players that are streaming on Twitch as well, they'll get like thousands of people that will be interested in them purely because of their rank on this game. So selling a service that allows you to obtain this rank
to get women,
a social title in a way.
Get diamond, get bitches. That's pretty much.
Yeah, no, I remember when I was out on a night out in Peterborough, which for any of you guys that don't know about Peterborough,
it's not in Canada.
It's possibly
it's Peterborough in Canada.
It's possibly the worst place I have ever been to on a night out.
How is this relevant?
So basically, in this club, I was ordering a drink, and some guy went to a girl and said, "I'm Diamond on League of Legends," and proceeded to get with her.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
And that's a totally true story.
Yeah. I think it was just his confidence about playing a game and being Diamond on this game.
Well, I was talking about this the other day about elo boosting services. He's like, oh yeah, I can elo boost in this game. It's like, no one gives a fuck about like if you can elo boost on Diablo or if you can boost someone in World of Warcraft. Nobody would give a shit. Like, unless you're elo boosting on like League of Legends.
I feel like a multiplayer only game in a way.
Well, it is a multiplayer only game, isn't it?
Well, that's how it actually makes sense for people to be concerned.
The biggest
with
social status games at the moment are League of Legends and CSGO. And I think we may be getting to a point in a couple of years where Overwatch boosting might become a big thing. Because I can see that game getting really fucking huge. Where people want their accounts boosted into the high rankings of the rank system. Because that's going to have a big social status later on. And stuff. So basically, after Tiny Build says this to G2A, you've basically stolen 450k worth of our games. G2A puts out an announcement. Sorry, that might have happened to you. You didn't get the G2A shield. We have a G2A shield on our website because we know
it was your fault.
We know people get scammed on there, so we have to offer you a charge to not get scammed. The sort of thing that eBay offers for free.
Yeah.
But basically we just need to apply for our royalties program where you can apply to get a percentage of the illegal sale of your game and we'll give a little bit back to you. Which was absolutely fucking absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. There are two quotes on like the post they gave, wasn't it? Like one was we're a leading electronic marketplace, which do you really need to say that? If you're actually one of them,
they're so bloody
does
prevalent
Steam say
at
this?
This point that G2A is everywhere. People are trying to...
Yeah, I give you that, but that's clearly part of their PR. But the second thing they said is like you have to put yourself in our shoes. If you have to say that, you're doing something wrong.
I think like it's it's a bit of a hypocritical statement. You have to put your thing in our shoes. Okay, well why don't you go to why don't you go to these tiny companies that are producing games, putting in hard work and all this money, and then find out that this site is allowing it to happen, allowing their game to be siphoned off and for them to lose money.
The way that I could put it the easiest, it's kind of like G2A is like a mafia, and they're going, oh, you should pay us protection money. Like, protection from who? Oh, protection from us.
Well,
like,
Yeah, it's sort of that thing where they're going, you pay us to
Yeah.
protect you from us.
well, like the whole thing is like, if you think about the whole idea of the business plan, it's so like messed up. Like, so if these people are using illegal money and they're, you know, getting 30, 40 like K of untaxed money, that doesn't go back.
Three to 4K.
Yeah, but yeah, per
that's
month.
per month though.
You know, untaxed. That is insane. Like,
Well, I don't know if that's untaxed.
well, it would be, wouldn't it? Because it's illegal.
Well, it's on a black market economy.
Yeah, and then so it's affecting loads of shit, and that's just awful. You know, you think about the basic principles of a market. You buy a good from like a distributor,
So
and it.
are you saying like the FCC should investigate?
Oh yeah,
G2A?
absolutely. Because.
I wouldn't mind seeing what happens.
Oh no, I absolutely think it should, because it's just dodgy. Like, you talk about like this
Yeah.
Wait,
Bitcoin,
I may have said the wrong company. I don't know anything.
but like
American
you
stuff.
think about,
IRS, I think is probably.
but
closer.
like think about like Bitcoin fraud and stuff like that. Like, that's all been investigated, and there's been stuff done about it. This just doesn't feel right. Like, it's dodgy. Like, the basic principles of the market are being destroyed by shit like this.
Do you know where G2A is based? Because that would tell me more about what kind of country would need to investigate.
I'm taking America, and if that is, and I'd say that because that is a country of questionable morals when it comes to
Business. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just gonna have a
It's
look. I'm
it's
not
the
quite sure.
second biggest brand in esports, which is insane.
It's that's one thing though. It's really hard to tell where a website is based. Like, this company could literally be based anywhere because it's on the net. You know?
I guess, but you can't work for the parent company.
It's in New York. G2A.com Limited, 36F Tower 2.
The business is registered in New York.
Oh no, Hong Kong, sorry.
Oh, it's registered in Hong Kong. Well, something's got to happen with. Either people need to wise up and stop buying these games, or people need to just start. They just literally need to stop supporting anyone that is involved with G2A and just say to them, you know, sorry, I'm not supporting you anymore because you're partnered with G2A, and when the only thing they're going to be able to see is money. So if you stop, if enough people start supporting, they start losing more money than G2A is giving them, then they might have to drop them. I think that's the biggest thing right now. If you can, anyone who still openly supports G2A, send them a Twitter message, say, why do you still support G2A? You know, try and open a dialogue with them, and if they refuse to talk to you, I would just stop supporting them, unfollow them.
Yeah.
You know,
So
talk to others about it.
I'm
message.
looking at their site now. I'm looking at the careers they have. They have fraud prevention manager, which seems almost somewhat ironic.
That's probably the man who creates the fraud.
Yeah.
Maybe the fraud leader himself.
Well, no.
I mean,
Speculation here, but this is not opinions.
It'd be interesting to see how much money that they actually lose for each fraud.
What
yeah.
the game developers?
Because if there is as much fraud as the Tiny Gamer, is it Tiny Build is saying, then
that is a point. You could investigate through what these companies, these development companies, like what they're experiencing money wise. Like if they're seeing like a lot of cash, like was it what's it called? Like credit it back towards.
yeah, and I think it makes it even more like dodgy if they don't have any loss of profit from people using fraud on their service. that would just seem utterly wrong, because it's everybody but them is the people getting affected. That's the truth of it, and the fact that the site would even allow that is just not right.
Yeah, so one person can purchase a game in, say, like Russia, and then sell it to someone in, like, the United Kingdom, and you have all this different money flying around, all these different codes in different countries and different transactions, and we don't really know anything about what's going on behind G2A. Like, I think someone needs to investigate this, like a tax company, to see really what transactions are going on.
Yeah.
I think the problem is like it's so like international. It'll take like at least 3 or 4 years. Like,
I think the only way you could really speed it up is if somebody was to sue G2A. Like Tiny Build went, you have stolen 450k of our revenue. We have precedent to sue you, basically. And until then, that's when people are going to stop supporting G2A partners, and when people like Tiny Build get fed up of losing this much money, they're a smaller company, so maybe they don't have the legal fees. I know it costs millions and millions of legal
years.
So
if many companies band together, though,
if they piss off the wrong company, I think G2A may have a lawsuit on their hands, which they may just get the hush money out for. So.
Yeah,
Oh, well, that's G2A talked about. That's a bit of gloom for the beginning of the podcast. They exist. I don't want you to forget. You need to remember, so you don't just, forget about them. Actively do not support them. You need to oppose them every time. If someone, you like and supports G2A, let them know how you feel about it after hearing what we said.
Yeah.
Make up your own mind, read what, Tiny Build said, read what G2A said, read what's out there, and make up your own opinion on whether you want to use G2A.com.
Just buy the bloody game to begin with. You obviously don't like it that much.
If you don't, you probably have enough money to buy. If you're going to buy a game, you probably have the extra money to make up the rest of the game from the developer who's selling it. So just buy it first hand. But the next thing we'll talk about is cheer bits on Twitch. So Twitch is introducing a new way of donating money to Twitch streamers called cheering. So they're saying like this sort of, let's celebrate together, and so basically you're kind of investing in Twitch stock. So you're buying an amount of bits, and they come in different like microtransaction units where you buy a certain amount of bits. And they're kind of beta testing this at the moment. I know quite a few prevalent streamers have been beta testing this on their streams. So you kind of cheer, and then you put in an amount, and then they give you that much of the bits that you've purchased, and it's kind of this other way of giving a donation to a streamer, and giving a visual cue. Like the amount of bits you give gives a different shape and animation. They've even added a plugin for this, so you can add it to your notification on your stream. And it just seems like this is a very smart move for Twitch, certainly, because they're gonna get a lot of profit from the donations. I don't think it's going straight to the streamer, because now they're gonna get a cut of what was uncut PayPal donations through like Stream Tip and that sort of thing. So what's your thought about this? I know you don't watch that much Twitch, but do you want to say your thoughts on this?
My gut reaction is I think it's good though. They've put a lot of effort into it. Like the animations, like the things look pretty nice. Obviously they want to get money from they wouldn't receive any money really, would they, from donations directly to people. So, but also you're saying earlier this can be more trustworthy. Like you can't just pull back.
So it would be way harder to charge back a bit donation than it would to be through Stream Tip or something. You're having to invest in Twitch, and then Twitch is then handling the bits, and then you're giving them to the streamer. Now, there was a case a little while ago where someone was doing these kind of prank donations, and Twitch just made him honor his donations. I think he donated around I think it was either $5,000 or $50,000 of these donations, and they actually made him, give the money to the people he donated to. I think, that's the kind of power Twitch has. That they're a huge company. They make a lot of money. You shouldn't fuck with them.
No, absolutely not.
But
unless they fuck up, then maybe you should.
Yeah.
But besides the point. At the moment, they're doing pretty good. I think this is quite a good system. Obviously, they want to make money from it, and I'm hoping it catches on. I hope people actually like it, though. Obviously, not as a Twitch user myself, but I have to see how things go.
It was $50,000 to video streamers as a prank. I think it was like a son of a rich businessman. He intentionally cancelled the payments at the last minute. But yeah, the joke turned on him after PayPal refused to give his money back. So basically, he just found himself with the other end of the joke, where he's just given up $50,000 into other Twitch streamers. So yeah, it seems like
jokes on him.
Well, this is the thing I would say is, do you guys ever see with the payment protection stuff where kids have been on their dad's iPhone and bought £200 worth? In that case, if it's a child, who's getting sued, it seems questionable. Obviously he shouldn't be a dick and go around joking people with donations, because a lot of Twitchers make their money, and I think it's a good way to control it and also make a profit for people making their careers by streaming. But at the same time, I think this allows it to be a lot more controlled, and there to be protection there from these joke trollers or whatever they are, and people maybe using their dad's credit card to buy 1,000 shapes or whatever they're called.
Twitch.
Yeah.
We're just going to take we're just going to take a quick break, because we're about an hour or so in, and we're back. This Twitch cheering. You're kind of investing in Twitch stock at this point. It seems like a really good idea for Twitch, but I'm not sure. Is it a great idea for streams?
I don't know though. I don't know. So you're saying the animations aren't enough for you? Is that what you're telling me? You need more animations.
I don't see how different it is to stream
just donating.
For a consumer's perspective, donating some money to a Twitch streamer, what do you really get out of it, to be honest? Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like because it's safer though, and it's shown is it shown on your account as well, how much you've given and things properly?
Yeah, so you can earn cheer chat badges for the channel, so your support is recognised. So if you, it sounds stupid, like a cheering system. You go, yay! Nobody in Twitch chat wants to go, yay! I love this streamer. They just want to spam emotes and go, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it works, because it sounds. Obviously, you're giving money to Twitch itself now, but at the same time, it sounds safer as well.
I don't think there's any reason for streamers not to use this system. I don't think there's any reason for people not to really use the system, but it kind of locks you into the Twitch system. So one of the things is it's kind of like buying, riot points in a game.
Yeah.
You're buying
you're buying a currency in the game in a way,
and you kind of forget how much bits are worth. So you want to spend more and buy more bits,
which is probably what they're hoping for.
I kind of really don't like this microtransaction kind of system that a lot of games have used, and it seems like Twitch is kind of picking up that this is really popular and successful, so they're kind of trying to use this system where they kind of make people who are less, let's say, financially sound with their money.
Yeah, less sensible.
Don't budget as well. Kind of getting them to want to, invest more into what is essentially Twitch stock and spend it on streams. Because once the money's in there, they're not going to let you charge that back.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I don't think there'll be any refunds coming from Twitch. So
I don't know, Matt. You don't use Twitch, do you? That much?
Not really.
So you're kind of in the same boat as me when it comes to opinion on this, or do you have a strong opinion?
What would you think if you were watching a stream and somebody put like 100 bits into chat? Does that not just sound like one of those illicit, streaming websites where the woman gets her boobs out?
Well, I'm looking at the pictures.
That's on all four.
I'm looking at the pictures now, and 5,000. I'm not really sure how the currency works, but 5,000 sounds like a lot. Like it sounds like at least like £50 or something like that.
Sounds like £5.
I don't know, but it seems like a lot, right?
I think you get more for buying bigger bundles.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah,
course,
The
you
standard.
will.
The
But like,
best deal.
but what is it like? You get a blue square for 5,000.
It animates.
Yeah, you get like I don't. That's not even a pentagon for 1,000.
The
Like
problem was the shape.
you get a kite for 100.
He wants more polygons.
And a grey
Never
kite.
underestimate the digital market. People pay thousands of dollars for
Yeah.
knives and guns.
It's
Yeah.
so bad. Like
It's about the social status. It comes
Yeah,
back to that.
it's like title. It's like
Yeah.
a social title in
Look
the
how
community.
expensive my weapon is. Look
Yeah.
how many bits I'm donating
Look how-
to the streamer.
Look how big my dick is.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but-
it's a theme.
But like,
Yeah.
how would Twitch? Like on Twitch, they're like, "Oh, thanks for paying £50 to me," or something like that. Oh, cheers! You paid.
Thanks for the bits.
Yeah, you paid 5,000 bits. It sounds wrong. Like, do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, you gave me some bits.
So your biggest problem is the shapes don't have polygons, and it sounds wrong when you get given them.
Yeah, like I don't know. It seems like so.
How?
If-
Okay, so alright, okay, hang on. If they convert it back to money when they then say like how much you're giving, would that be better?
Yeah, but it.
I don't think they would.
No, I don't think they would either, because then you'd actually know how much each was every time someone paid.
I know it just.
It's around $1.40 for 100 bits. It's kind of the.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
It just feels like I'm at preschool, and it's like, oh, here's some shapes. Apart from these shapes that I get, I'm having to pay for.
Well, I feel like the 250 million bits. That's got to be a pretty impressive animation to.
I want a
bloody
mushroom
hope
cloud.
so.
I want a mushroom cloud animation. That's
A Twitch employee will personally hand your donation to the streamer.
And you get a video recording of it.
Well, you can see it live on stream.
Yeah.
It should also become a emoticon that you could use.
I think it doesn't have that. It's for a lot of people it won't have any negatives, but I think it definitely does have some negatives, even though it may be a safer system for people to use.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit.
It's
mind gamey, where it's
From
kind
a
of
consumer, it's not really necessary either. It's kind of just there so Twitch can get money. That's the reason it exists.
It's just there so Twitch can get a cut of the money and they can capitalize on people who would put bits into Twitch rather than actual cold hard, number cash.
Because it's like obfuscating what money is. Like you've gone through like another system, so you don't know how much money you're paying.
It's one
in.
thing to go, oh, I'll donate $5 to this
Yeah.
one streamer, I like him, but it's one thing to go, I'll put $5.
Let me just convert it
Twitch.
to Hong Kong dollars, then to Twitch bits.
No,
Oh, there we
but
go. It's $5.
Just to put $5 into Twitch, you go, now I can spend these bits how I want. I might not use them, but I've already given the money to Twitch. So at this
I see what
point,
you
to Twitch, it doesn't matter how you use these bits because they already have your money. You've already spent it basically.
But surely,
you kind of don't own this currency anymore.
but
It's
doesn't
kind of
that
a
mean
useless-
Twitch has to then, if you just like, I don't know why you do this, but just bought a load of bits and then just didn't use them, that Twitch would get more money because you're not paying it to a streamer.
No.
Surely they have to then pay them.
they're giving them money, but they're going to give them a cut of the money, basically.
Right.
So when you're spending bits, Twitch is getting a cut. So when you don't spend bits, Twitch is getting money. When you do, Twitch is getting money.
Yeah, it's
just
like
seems
a
like
double dip.
It's a really good system for Twitch. I'll just, unless anyone else has anything to say, they are testing this out on a bunch of various streamers like Lyrics, Summit 1G, I think Dodger was on there as well, Frodan.
Okay.
Various big streamers on there.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I'm interested in is, okay, say I buy 200 bits, but I'm like, this person's cool, I'll give him 1 bit. Can I do that?
Yeah, there's an animation for 1 bit. I feel like 1 bit's gonna get spammed.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, but like, okay, so what about if I want to give 69 bits?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it in integrals. I think it may just be 1, 100, 1,000.
Yeah,
5,000,
but like,
sort of stuff.
I would love to do 69 bits. I think it'd be.
You can do 69 cents, where you just don't use Twitch bits and kind of invest into Twitch and give them spend more money than you'd otherwise have to. I think it's not a good system for consumers, but it's a good system for Twitch. So that's why they're really trying to push it. Because they know people will just use it because it's easy and it's colourful and shiny.
It's got fancy animations and shapes and
Okay,
colours and...
so if you're using these Twitch bits and stuff, this Twitch premium thing should therefore be completely eradicated, I think.
What, Twitch Turbo?
Yeah, because they're now getting profit from these microtransactions.
I think Twitch still loses a lot of money from people using ad blocker. Like, I know YouTube loses a lot of... They actually lose money, Google does, on YouTube because of how many people don't watch ads. I know Twitch has a way bigger income from subscribers. They're now trying to capitalise on their donations, which will give them a big influx. But what Twitch Turbo does is it supports ad-free viewing without, taking away from the Twitch itself by just blocking the ads straight up.
Yeah,
I love
One of the
ads.
things they also are doing recently, which is kind of makes Twitch Turbo less useless, is making it so that people who are Twitch Turbo are some of the first beta testers for the HTML5 video rollout. So as you may know, Twitch is a CPU hog. Because it's still in Flash. A lot of the videos are still in Flash, but it's moving on to HTML5 like YouTube. The chat's already HTML5 at the moment. But once it moves over to HTML5, it's going to be a way less intensive on the CPU and the computers of the people watching, which will make the viewing experience a lot better. They have made their VOD system slightly better. I think this is a good move from Twitch, from them personally, kind of trying to improve this. If this funds HTML5, more power to Twitch, dude. More power to Twitch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If they spend it wisely, fair enough.
I don't think this is necessarily great for consumers, but it may be for you personally if you're into that sort of stuff. Right. Do you want to talk about the final topic, which they're all kind of linked, so we're going to talk about the CSGO gambling scandals.
It's all drama, all problems.
Let's get right to the news.
Yeah.
Fucking Keemstar, dude. I think he's one of the most hated people on the internet by now.
Why am I still getting hate? Got 3 main reasons, Keemstar. I'm not getting into it right now, so I don't get sued.
What Keemstar does is when he just mentions people briefly so he can put them in the tags. We can put Keemstar in our tags now.
Yeah.
We've talked about Keemstar.
Can we dox him? Because apparently it's legal to dox people. I mean, he does it. I mean, have you heard that though? Like one person got spotted 5 times because of it.
Well, I wouldn't want anyone to do that.
No, I would never do something like that. But
even
if he wants a reason why people hate
someone.
him, there's one.
Anyway, so
back onto different drama.
two owners of the CS:GO gambling site, CS:GO Lotto. I think it's Trevor Martin and Pro Syndicate. So basically, they were sponsored by this site, CS:GO Lotto. Originally, they were saying they were sponsored.
Well, they originally said like, oh yeah, they found this website, and then they played it a bit, and then they got sponsored by them. Like, do you want to do a few videos?
And
on it?
they were going on this website, and they were getting incredible pots. Like, if you don't know about CS:GO, so CS:GO has its own sort of virtual economy on it. So people want to get a social status, and they want to get really cool skins. So what Valve does is it gets a crate and it gets a key, and it sells you that key for $2, and it goes, there's a chance you can get a really, really rare one. So people spend, thousands on these keys trying to get the really rare ones, which makes the weapons and the knives that come out of these really rare crates worth thousands of dollars because they're worth what people pay for them.
Yeah.
So now these things are ridiculously inflated, and they have this really, crazy economy where the top end items on them are worth literally thousands of dollars. And then what Valve does is they have their own marketplace, which they take cuts from. So what people have done using the Steam API is made it so you can trade these between people, and people trade, between.
Well, they trade it to a bot, don't they? For
so what
the
they've
gambling.
done now is they've made it. The websites have it so you trade to a bot, and then you put your items onto the website through the API, and you kind of gamble your skins against things. So you're kind of gambling with really valuable items that aren't technically money. But
just not technically gambling.
But the act of opening a crate and, getting a random chance of a really valuable item that it has a real value of, $4,000 is kind of like gambling. And then people are going on to gamble this on websites where people are making lots of money on it. So Trevor Martin and Pro Syndicate, who originally claimed not to own the website CS:GO Lotto, and were sponsored by it, and had a lot of videos where they won a lot of money on this website, have now later been found out to actually own the website. They have been found in the Southern District of Florida to actually have the ownership of the company when they didn't upfront say that they owned the company, which is highly illegal, by the way.
Yeah, in America.
And especially in the UK, it's even more illegal to not publicly state that you are accepting an advertisement for a particular product. A lot of YouTubers have actually been caught out in the UK because our government is very strict on advertisements. Like we have
products and things.
We have an entire channel that has 0 advertisements on, is paid by the taxpayer.
Yeah. But I think
very strict on advertising.
Even in America, though, there's now laws you can't not say who you're being advertised by if it is a paid placement.
When they release these videos, they need to say, "I own this website. I may be biased towards the website." Not making faked videos where they incriminate themselves, showing themselves trading with bots that they own to get false winnings from them. They basically rigged their gambling website that they didn't announce that they lawfully owned, and were basically, falsifying information about this website. What do you think about this sort of thing?
I personally think it's ridiculous that how much people they have a lot of subscribers. These people, and they lied to every one of their viewers. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I find it ridiculous how people, like Pro Syndicate, still have 205 million followers on Twitter, and people are still supporting them after this stuff, because after this kind of, they've now been sort of sued. They've been added onto the lawsuit against Valve for this sort of unprecedented, untaxed, gambling sort of going on. That's been targeted more towards younger children and teenagers, that Valve really hasn't stopped in any way. They could have changed the policies of their API and made it basically against their terms of service to gamble with the skins and taken away the API rights to these sort of websites and bots and heavily police this with their lawyers, but they've chosen not to because they know this generates a lot of interest in the game and it makes them a lot of money in the overall run, which, to be fair to Valve, it's one thing to say, GTA needs to police this and Valve shouldn't, but Valve is definitely in the wrong here.
Yeah, Valve definitely needs to police their stuff, like more so than ever for this, because it is basically gambling. Like, I think that Toby was saying like they won through not one, but like they like trying to claim through like technicality that it's not gambling. Like, you shouldn't be having technicalities to have moral standards. But I know Jim Sterling is like definitely this is basically gambling.
Matt, what do you think about this?
Well, to be honest, I would never spend like $5,000 or however much it is. Like, I mean, Calvin Chan was telling me about there was a sniper skin he wanted for £700. I'd never spend that. I just go on to buy like a real CS:GO knife.
It goes back to this Twitch bits and sort of thing. Well, it's a social status to have this kind of skins and stuff. People really want. I know back when I was younger, this is another Valve game, but it predates Counter-Strike Go's sort of marketplace. The first kind of place we saw this was Team Fortress 2. Yeah. So it's had exactly the same system of crates where people were paying thousands of dollars for hats. So you kind of had this microeconomy where unusual hats were worth like a hell of a lot of money in social states. And I remember I played a lot of that game as basically kind of like a trading spreadsheet where I'd go into these different servers and websites and trade my way up and get good deals, and I traded my way up to like an unusual hat, and I thought that was really cool at the time because I had an unusual hat, and that was one of the rarest hats in the game, and it gave me some sort of social status in the game. But and we're seeing this in CS:GO again, and there's this new generation of people like me when I was younger who all want this this social status in CS:GO. Like, it's one of the most popular games at the moment. Everyone's playing it, and Valve's done this before, and no one's complained about like TF2 gambling sites or that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I think because Syndicate I'm taking is a big CS:GO player.
Pro Syndicate. Well, less of a CS:GO player and more of a CS:GO gambling player. A lot of CS:GO streamers these days are literally people who log on to gambling websites, click a button, gamble, and have really, big reactions to their winnings on these gambling websites they don't own. Right, definitely.
Definitely don't own. Not gonna
pretty goddamn awful.
I don't. Obviously, you can watch whatever the hell you want, but I really don't understand why you want to watch that.
Well, we see this all the time in games. It's not just CS:GO. Like, if you go on YouTube and just type FIFA pack unpacking.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you type Hearthstone card unpacking. Like, people go crazy for this shit. Oh my god, he's got a rare card. He's got a rare hat. He's got a rare gun in CS:GO. Like, this digital economy is worth millions and millions of pounds, and a lot of it's unregulated.
FIFA's so much more controlled, though.
Well, I don't. There's no like trading marketplace or gambling for that. It's kind of more.
It's already integrated. You can't really stray from that.
Yeah. But they're not quite as big as like CS:GO or Steam, kind of having their own digital economy inside of their distribution system.
Yeah,
I mean,
so they can take an extra cut on it.
It's like sort of fair, like it's dodgy, but you got to think like, wow, these guys have come up with a money making scheme. It's pretty successful. Like, I don't agree with it, but it's...
Are you talking about Pro Syndicate?
Yeah, like, I don't agree with it at all, but...
You don't agree with...
lying and being illegal.
scamming kids out of their money
Yeah, okay.
on CS:GO skins.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty sketchy.
I'm not gonna like be around. This is literally fraud.
Yeah.
You're not just like, whoopsie, made a mistake in a game. You're literally
Apology
committing
video.
fraud.
It'll be fine.
Has he not been arrested then?
They're being sued.
Yeah, they're being sued hugely.
They should be arrested.
It will be if it goes through.
They
said some people say actually go to prison for this if right things go down in court.
Well, they're gonna be jail bait then.
To go to prison, they've got to, the government's got to investigate them. And,
Yeah.
That's not high on their priority list to investigate CS:GO gambling. So they'll start looking at it once they
Built the wall.
The public starts suing these people for money, and then the government goes, well, maybe there's something in this CS:GO gambling. Maybe something wrong is going on in this system.
Yeah.
And the main people that need to really step up at the moment is Valve.
Yeah, if they police it, shouldn't be a problem, but it's because they're allowing it to be in these gambling things. They've allowed this API to allow this. Really, they need to kind of. I don't know how they could police it though. Like, I can't actually think of a feasible system, but I'm sure Valve can think of something much better than I can. They make money after all.
They kind of need to be more vocal.
Yeah.
With their
they need their policies and things.
Each game kind of has a figure who kind of talks to the community. So you have like your Ben Brode for Hearthstone. He's the lead developer. Overwatch has Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah.
Who's he talks to the community, he integrates with them, that sort of stuff. You have all these figures. For the longest while, like, Gabe was our guy. Gabe Newell was like, oh, some shit was going down. Gabe Newell knew about it, but he's kind of got to a point where he's kind of beyond the community. He's running like one of the biggest distribution systems and game creators in the world that he can't get down to us on a
personal level.
peer-to-peer level. So
yeah.
Valve just needs a PR team. They need a customer support team, and they need a bloody PR team, because at the moment they're not really doing anything.
No.
They're not integrating with the community at all. I know at the moment they're going for a massive TF2 update. They're adding like the competitive mode to it finally. I think it's a bit too late with how big Overwatch has become.
A lot of the companies going to VR as well.
Yeah, 33% of Valve is now on VR. Now I know I'm maybe biased towards Valve. I try not to be because I'm a big fan, but I've called them out on the shit before. I was the first person to make a video on paid mods on Skyrim.
Yeah,
we didn't hear anything from Valve for weeks until Gabe Newell woke up one day and was like, holy shit guys, I'm sorry, I didn't know what the fuck was happening. He was having eye surgery. Gabe, are you having more eye surgery now where people are losing millions of dollars on CSGO gambling skins and kids are basically, they're getting their CSGO skins, they're buying their games on G2A. Gabe, you need to fix all of this. This is up to you.
Only you. Saviour of the internet.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we need a new one. We need a new god.
We're gonna vote for a new god, are we?
Burn the false prophet. Oh, it's just such a mess, isn't it?
It really is a mess.
It's so hard to actually get the law and like lawyers and stuff involved, but we come leaps and bounds,
like on the internet space, opposed to just like it wasn't really considered a real thing.
How do you sue like the internet?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult
when it doesn't exist in one place. It's uncharted territory, and I think more laws need to exist.
But how can the internet be real if our eyes aren't real?
Jaden Smith.
Yeah.
Another great guy. Always coming out with the big revelations.
Follow him on Twitter. What? You will not regret it.
Oh. But yeah. I don't know what needs to be done at this point with that. You just need to... One thing they said about Skyrim was they lost so much money through emails. If you're pissed off about CSGO gambling, send them as many emails as you can, and then they will really notice that. I know Gabe Newell reads every email he gets. He says when he's bored and he's waiting in queue for things, he just reads his emails. Send Gabe Newell an email. Ask him about CSGO gambling. And, send them to a point where they can't ignore it.
That's Gabe Newell at valvesoftware.com.
At valvesoftware.com. And have fun! He's a meme at this point, but there is a man behind.
There is a
the
real
meme.
person there, and he does need to. I think he probably could fix all of this, to be fair, but he does need to get on that.
Yeah. Get out there, get informed,
get back. Actually, connect with the community again.
Yeah, your voice is really important in this stuff because you are the consumer of these products. So if you're willing to go out there and say no to this sort of stuff, then you can really make a difference. Let people know that you won't stand for this shit. Let them know you will not support this shit, and let them know you will not support anyone who supports this shit. And that is the only way this sort of stuff's gonna, stop. Well, shall we move on to Toby's Wishllist?
It's the best part of the show.
My favourite.
I feel like it's been a very angry podcast, so we can have some fun looking at the anime bullshit that is on Toby's Wishllist.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, this has been a heavy one. But so the first one I've picked out is Epic Quest of the Four Crystals. Do you want to talk about this? Because I'll just read it out. The most non-Japanese JRPG of the decade. Now, when a game starts with that, you know it's going to be a cracker.
What more do you want?
About this?
What?
Epic Quest is an action-packed adventure featuring over a dozen classic and rich environments, 5 playable characters, and a plethora of skills, spells, and limit breaks. A must-have for fans of SNES, Final Fantasy, and Chrono Trigger.
Well,
So
first things first, it's an RPG Maker game. That should be stated right from the get.
Okay. RPG Maker, always bringing out the great games.
To be fair, I think quite a few good games that like
Can
good
you
stories. I tend to just try and go for good story ones. This seems to be community seems to like this one, so I kind of just added it on my wish list because of that. I know you don't like. I'm not the greatest fan of JRPGs as well.
I am not a JRPG fan. I'm not a fan of Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger. So this is definitely not the game for me. But
So Matt,
even in it,
you like
it's
it,
kind
you
of
said.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes me want to buy it.
So you can add it to your wish list
I
then.
might add it to my wish list.
Oh,
Matt,
Joe, I've already
but
done that.
The thing is, Matt would buy a game just to annoy me.
Yeah,
That's the
I think
sort of
that's
thing
valid.
he would do.
That's valid. I've still won.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out the
Teenage
shadow.
Mutant Ninja Turtles out of the shadow. I'm so disappointed that Mutants in Manhattan was such a bad game. It had so much good things going for it. It had the classic, comic book style. It was being made by Platinum Games, one of the best hack and slash creators, and then it was just utter, pile of garbage.
I bought it.
I was so disappointed by that. It was a 4-player Platinum game of one of my favourite, TV series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was so excited for that, and I was so upset, dude. You do not know. I was getting so hyped. I love Platinum games.
I remember how hyped you were getting.
Yeah, I was just so disappointed. No, fuck you, Toby. Epic Quest of the Four Crystals. It's not going on my wish list.
That's pretty quick determination on that one.
Well,
No
we can look
JRPGs
at-
for you.
I'm putting it on mine.
It's going on, Matt.
Just to spite you.
The full controller support, whatever. It's a JRPG. It's turn-based. by the looks
It
of
is only single player, as all most RPG Maker
You are
games
selling.
It's got trading cards. There's no leaderboards, Toby. I can't compete with people in my JRPG.
You get
So,
satisfaction.
I will not be putting this on my wish list, I'm afraid, Toby.
Okay.
And
I will accept that. I will accept that.
I will say it can be on yours because you like this, but it looks kind of shit.
It looks great.
It looks kind of crap for a JRPG. It doesn't look great. I don't like the art style that much. It feels kind of cheap. It's an RPG Maker game. I don't know how effort went into this. It's very positive. Maybe it's got.
I think a lot of effort
Maybe it's
has
got
been put into this.
amazing JRPG combat gameplay that I'm just not seeing.
The thing is, I think
But
these assets are made by the people, so it sounds to me like it's like one of their first games. By
I feel like it's been reviewed by people who like JRPGs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But why would you click on
So-
JRPG make a game if you didn't like JRPG?
Well, you got lost on Toby's wish list and you were asking him what the hell it was. That's why you clicked on it.
Well, that's the reason.
Or because you bought it to annoy a friend.
Well, I expect you to be playing this in your spare time, Matt. So
I'm gonna play it all the time.
I'm just reading some of the negative reviews. Boring and static, great music, but horrible navigation and beyond inane dialogue. I was attempting the mouse controls, but the behaviour was bizarre. This person's got 0.3 hours on record. He did not enjoy that. I sometimes like to read the negative reviews.
I did that. It's my favourite pastime.
You're just a hater.
It helps me validate why I'm not going to purchase this game.
Yeah. But that's
But yeah,
not on your wish list.
There is quite a few positive reviews. People seem to like it. So if you like JRPGs, check it out. If you like RPG Maker, yeah, why not?
Why not?
So what is Grando Espada? Espada?
I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm not gonna lie.
Play the acclaimed RPG masterpiece of all time, Grando Espada. Collect all characters and engage yourself for more than 500 plus rewarding quests. Immerse for its unique story of expedition, colonization, and political feud. Wow, there's political feud.
I'm pretty sure those don't exist anymore because this is massively multiplayer, free to play from 2007.
Right, so it says RPG and it kind of presents itself as a story-rich RPG, but it's quite clearly an MMO.
Yeah. To me, I just wanted to see how this, like a 2007 RPG, just kind of works.
It's not got great reviews.
No, it's got mixed reviews.
I knew it would have great reviews. I've put it on my list myself.
Mate, you don't even judge the games, you just put them straight on. I'm gonna be. It's free to play, so I'm gonna be coming on tomorrow, and Matt's gonna be like, "Oh, come on, Grando Espada, let's grind some fucking JRPG shit on this MMO."
You should see the political richness. It's just
Yeah, the political feud that's going on in this
Matt.
RPG masterpiece.
The question is though, is it okay to be on my wish list? Have I given
No.
a valid reason to be on my
No,
wish list?
Matt said earlier it's not allowed to be on your wish list because it's a free to play
Right,
game.
right. You haven't.
You put it
okay.
on your wish
In other
list.
podcasts, I've stated why I've done this. I find it really hard to track like the millions of games on Steam, even free to play.
You can follow games.
And I absolutely
I'll do
detest
some
the follow
development.
system because it tells you of every event that comes up, which is super annoying.
You just want a list of games.
I just want a list of games
interested
that
in.
I may want to buy or play at some point.
Toby. This is my logic. It's free to play. Download it and play it. You're not paying anything.
But
for
okay. Another problem that comes up: if I download it on one system, I don't have it on the other system, and I can't remember what games were free to play were on that system. So it still makes sense to be on the wish list.
Do you ever scroll through your wish list
Yeah.
and look at free to play games and click on them and go, "I'm going to play this now"?
How do you think Security Clicker came about?
What's stopping you from playing this game right now, Toby? That you definitely want to play this game?
It's not a great game. I'm not gonna lie. I just want to.
Why it shouldn't be on your wish list?
No,
then,
no,
Toby?
because I do want to play it. I have this weird, bad gameplay sort of thing, like with bad movies. I can't want to play. Some
You want to see how bad it is.
Bad game. Yeah.
If you want to see how bad it is, you just literally install it.
No.
play it for 10
I have to be in
minutes,
the
and
right
then
mood.
install
I
it.
can't watch or play bad things like all the time.
Right, Toby.
There's a science behind it.
There's 35 people playing this right now with
Oh,
a
then-
peak of 38.
You must be having huge amount of political feud.
I played this game for 5 years, from 2007 to 2012, and I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. How would I recommend this game? No. For the long run, Feel free to check it out because it's interesting for the early game, just like most pay-to-win MMOs. This is no exception. The end game is one of the longest grinds that either costs a fortune in real cash or hundreds upon hundreds of hours of grinding requiring a clan and high-level gear to do many of the end-game content. I'm not quite sure how the community is now, but when I left 4 years ago, it was a wretched hive of scum and villainy. The closer you approach endgame content, the more you encounter drama between many elitist and veteran players and clans. Sounds like it's a very heavy pay-to-win, free-to-play MMO.
Well, it just shows... yeah, exactly, a political feud in action. As stated on the store page.
The political feud between the players is part of the game.
As advertised, Joe. As advertised. It's staying on my wish list.
As advertised, this game is a hell of a political feud between hosts of the podcast on whether it is not a piece of shit.
Oh no, we all agree it's a piece of shit. Let's not go that far.
I'm downloading it now.
He's downloading it now. Matt loves this game. 10 out of 10 IGN. I think it looks awful. I would not recommend this to any sane human being.
Do not download this game.
But
That's my recommendation.
if you are insane like Toby, add it to your wish list and then never play it and then install it at some point.
Yep. That's my plan.
This is a game, Matt, you noticed this one. Do you want to talk about the last one quickly?
Sega Fish.
Sega bass fishing. What the fuck is this?
Ultimate bass fishing. It's basically what it is.
Description, Toby.
Yeah, of course. Explore the exciting sport of bass fishing based on the dramatic hit of the Dreamcast hit. Motor out to 8 different fishing locations to catch the biggest and baddest bass possible. Choose between 14 different lures and compete in 4 tournaments. Start off as an amateur and work out to the pros in the user reviews. Overall, very positive.
I think that you deterred me from this when you said Dreamcast.
The more that I see the pictures, the more I want to play this game.
Right.
Just because.
The reason it's on my wish list
Oh my
because there's
God,
a game
it's
called
incredible.
Ultimate Bass Fishing on the iPod and
It's
on the
incredible.
Apple Store, and it reminds me a lot like that. And I want to recreate that trailer of Ultimate Bass Fishing.
It actually looks awesome. I want to play carp fishing simulator as well.
That's not sold then, Joe.
No, I'm not sold on this game.
Joe, does this not make you want to buy it? It's an anomaly these days for a game to reel in such an emotion.
I'll allow it to be on Toby's wish list because it looks interesting on how bad it is. Like the last game didn't look so bad it wanted to make me play it, but this one just looks amazingly bad.
Well,
like
our good old friend Michael's already played 0.1 hours of this game, so
it doesn't actually look that bad. I don't know. This is like it comes from the Dreamcast or something.
I don't know.
This review is brilliant.
You want to read it out for us, Matt?
Yeah, sure. It's an anomaly these days for a game to reel in such an emotional response in the player, only to pull a bait and switch when you least expect it. I was kept on the edge of my boat seat from the moment Sega lured me in. I was ready. My heart was on the line, along with the monster bass that swallowed my jig whole as he failed under the dock, as guitars seemingly from heavens itself pounded away, as did the giant fish. I turned the rod left, it's coming near. I turned the rod right, coming, oh, come on, almost there. In a brief moment of glory, the monstrous bass was lifted onto my boat, seemingly putting on the edge of capsizing. This one's huge. I wranged in my tears and felt the bonus of time rush over me. Thank you, Sega, thank you.
Well,
Wow.
This one,
6.8 hours on record.
this one's pretty positive, better than Dota.
So
2.
it seems like it's based on the Sega bass fishing game, also known as Get Bass,
Yeah.
an arcade fishing video game developed in 1997 by Sega as part of their Sega Model 3 hardware, the Dreamcast. This game was ported to Dreamcast, Windows, the Xbox 360, PlayStation, and the Wii.
Oh,
So
You can get it on your Wii, Joe.
I can get it on my Wii. There was, interestingly enough, there was also a sequel, Sega Bass Fishing 2, was released in 2001. The following year, Sega Bass Fishing Duel was released for the PlayStation 2, bringing multiplayer to the series. And in April 2012, an on-the-rails FPS crossover titled Sega Bass Fishing of the Dead was reported to be in production for Nintendo's Wii U and Nintendo 3DS, but the trailer was revealed to be an April Fool's joke by Random Encounter Entertainment. So yeah, if you want to play an old Sega Dreamcast game ported to Steam, then you should check out Sega Bass Fishing.
Well,
I think this game is okay to be on your wishlist, Toby. I know you love fishing simulators. I still stand by the fact that all fishing minigames are boring. I haven't found a fun fishing game.
I really don't mind them in any game.
The act of fishing is pretty boring itself.
That's why you're wrong. Because now you found one, Sega Bass Fishing.
Well, they don't have a demo that I can play, unfortunately, and they've only got partial controller support, I'm afraid. So
for that reason,
I need to plug in my fishing rod adapter so I can really feel the fish. I think I'm not going to personally add to my wish list, but if it turns out this game is the fishing experience we've all been waiting for, maybe I will get around to it.
It really hasn't reeled you in.
No, Toby, I've not been reeled in. It's not baited me into buying it with its fishing race. No, if it had a massive pair of tits on the pictures, maybe I would.
God, if that was the bait, I think, Jesus.
All I'm going to say is I'm starting up a Sega fish base gambling station.
Yeah, we're coming to the end of the show now, so I'll just read out the Danny Dyer tweet of this podcast, which is "New Labour, new bollocks, vote Winnie the fucking Pooh," which is a cracking message.
Thanks,
when we've got all this insanity, you know, Britain's leaving the EU,
Brexit,
you know. Brexit, yeah.
The new Weetabix, new from Weetabix, the new breakfast cereal, Brexit.
Yeah, our Prime Minister stepped down, we're getting uncertainty, but Danny Dye's saying no, just vote for Winnie the fucking Pooh.
We've got it. We've fixed the entire problem.
That's the message we can all stand by. Don't vote for Labour, vote for Winnie the fucking Pooh.
We're related to it very well.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny, for your kind words of wisdom in this time of need.
Thank you.
So that's the end. Does anyone have any final thoughts or plugs they want to say, Matt? Your blog post and your
thank you for having me.
YouTube channel. Yeah, real pleasure. I really enjoyed the part at the beginning where you kind of stole the show with your
half an hour of wrestling. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm really interested to actually see what you're gonna do on YouTube and read your blog post, because that stuff sounds. Really good.
Thank you.
Go and check them out.
As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Scorn2000. Follow me on YouTube, Scorn2000. Just search for Scorn. Of course, you're listening to us on the Everything in Between podcast on the YouTube channel. All the VODs be uploaded there with the pictures edited by Tony himself. You can check out his YouTube channel with these great videos. I don't know, iPod, Cherno 90.
On that note, though, I still haven't actually made my Tones of RT video at all.
Tones of RT will be his new channel eventually.
Eventually, maybe, perhaps.
But that's the end of the podcast. I am Peter Molyneux, and that's the end.
Yeah, and Scorn Retorts. Go and check him out.
Oh yeah, shout out to Dave LeChance's mum.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.